welcome back to Gaming System. It's another bonus round. This time we are doing a top 8 list of the most immersive video game worlds. So these are games that we think you just can disappear into and you forget about the real world, and you're completely consumed by the world that you've entered into. So things start off with Jen. What is your number one?
My number one has boringly got to be World of Warcraft. I lost myself in that world for about 5 years. I literally was living and breathing it, and it was awesome. And I have memories now that I go back and I can remember conversations that I had with people which were text-based or maybe voice conversations, but I physically, when I think of them, I'm physically in places in that world or doing things in that world. So my memories have properly absorbed all of the environment. And although you can't smell or feel things, you sort of fill in those gaps. So I can actually imagine what it was like to stand in the city, outside the main bank in Ironforge, deep under the ground, an dwarven place. Or I can imagine what it was like sloshing about looking for herbs in the swamps and sort of creeping about, avoiding the undead in Darkshire. And I have a feel that is very sensual in a non-erotic way about the world. And so for me it was an entirely immersive experience. I think the fact that it was also social and there were other people there meant that kind of helped to double down on that. So you were having conversations with other people in those environments and interacting with them. And so for me that would be my number one immersive experience.
You just made me think of all the games where you go back playing them later, you remember every nook and cranny of maps. You could walk around everywhere and you have really strong feelings about each character. And I've been playing Metal Gear Solid 5 again the last few days. And I remember the setting of every single encampment that you go into. I remember how I feel about each of the characters. There's a character that I absolutely hate. He's the biggest prick, irritating. I hate him so much, no redeeming features. And it made me, I just stepped back for a second and realised that's a sign of incredible character creation and writing, because it makes you feel. It doesn't matter what a character makes you feel, as long as they make you feel something. And so that's one part of Metal Gear Solid 5. And another part is your big boss, Solid Snake, the character you play. He is meant to be the greatest soldier the world has ever known. And you 100% feel like you are that soldier. You don't. It's no bullshit when you said you're the best. You're playing the best soldier that's ever existed, and then they actually make you feel like that and deliver that. That's what makes it so immersive. Quite apart from the incredible environments, it's set in Afghanistan and Africa. And it's the same people who made Death Stranding. No one quite makes the same sort of environments as Hideo Kojima. So that's number 2 for me. Alex, what would be number 3 for you?
Well, I've talked about it before on the pod, but it's probably going to be Assassin's Creed Origins, because it's set in ancient Egypt, which is, of course, as you can tell, probably one of my favourite things. And it's more to do with the particular atmosphere of where you find yourself in the map. You can tell a district apart from another based on how much Latin you hear. The Romans are camped out in this part, they're coming in through this part of the country. And then obviously in Alexandria you hear a lot of Greek voices as well. And then the further down south you go, it gets more Egyptian. So it's just a good reflection of that particular moment in time. But I think particularly when I played on the Discovery Tour, you can, apart from doing the tours themselves, you can blend like you would if you were an assassin, in with the AI in the environment, and you can sit and make a pot, do some mummification, just generally all sorts of things to sit and listen to people. And it's just so cool, just sitting there for like 10 minutes and watching how people behave and that sort of thing. It just brings it alive.
I was such a you could really tell that they were building it from the ground up, and they were really excited to be trying this new way of doing things. Every time I think about Egypt now, I just think what a devastating loss it is that the Library of Alexandria burned down.
I know.
Just imagine what. And I saw recently that whenever new people arrived, they would requisition all their books and scrolls, and they'd copy it and then give them back the copy and keep the original. That's just, imagine. Okay, Caroline, what's number 4 from you?
I'm going to go in a completely different tangent because I like doing that. And for me, one of the most immersive games over my whole gaming history has got to be Football Manager. Or erstwhile Championship Manager, when they split and Championship Manager went in a different way, and then it's actually... None of you need to know the history, but trust me. So, I'm going to say Football Manager, but in the older ones, I'm obviously referring to Champ Manager 98 being the greatest game ever. And I think I've probably played all of them as the years have gone by, but the immersive nature of it, where you, just through a text box, I mean, now there's a lot more fancy animations, but in the early ones, you were just literally reading text on a screen. And yet you felt like you were managing this football team, that you were taking them from the lowest divisions, from the start of the season. You start to know your players, and all you're ever looking at is stats on a screen. But you start to really, really care about this person and that person, and but I haven't put them in the squad recently, but I reckon they've got potential, and feeling emotionally bound about selling them. And it's because the comprehensive way the game's been put together over the years. So for those of you who haven't played it, there are scouts, actual football scouts, who go out for the developers, and they look at not millions, but thousands of footballers around the country. Like when you recruit a 14-year-old straight out of the school, sort of training schools and stuff like that, that is a real person. That is somebody that a scout has actually gone out and written stats about. And every little attention to detail in the game is the reason why it feels so brilliantly immersive. And you can lose... I've lost weeks of my life to playing Football Manager. I have created spreadsheets. By now you can actually extract the data, which is brilliant. But I'm not particularly into football. This is the thing about it. I'm not a big football fan. And, I can usually hold my own in a football conversation, largely just because of the amount of Football Manager I've played. And it's so realistic that I normally manage to bullshit my way through. And I think that's just... I love that game that is essentially... a glorified database can make you feel so much emotion.
That's exactly what I was thinking, because that's what the best games do, because it's about hiding the limits, because every open world has a limit that you can go by, but if it can make you feel like the world is endless, that game is just maths, it's numbers, and it can completely create this incredible experience for your life. Our math is so cool, and algorithms and all that stuff. That is fucking incredible. Okay, so we'll move on to number 5, and I'm going to gem what it would be on number 5.
Oh, do you know what? I've really struggled. I've actually kind of got 2 here, but I'm going to go with the sort of quirkier one, just to expand the things that we're talking about. And I think that if we're talking about computer games, then I think it would be a mud that I played many years ago, which I played for a long time, and then I helped to design it, called Elephant Mud. I think it was just called Elephant Mud because the person who ran it just really liked elephants. But it was a Dungeons and Dragons style in world, and it was incredibly immersive, even though it was a text-based game. So there were no graphics at all, apart from the occasional one made out of numbers and letters called ASCII graphics. You may have heard of those. and you moved around by typing north, south, east, west, and you just moved into a room, and then as you walked into a room, a description would pop up, and if there was a monster or a character in the room, then you would see them and you can interact with them. And I played the game for a long time, and then I got involved in designing the game, and so I created areas, and so I saw it from the front and the back end, and what was really lovely is that seeing it from the back end didn't impact on the immersiveness of the world. It was extremely interactive. There was all sorts of things that you could do, and we had a whole team of people contributing to it, and we did the whole thing for free. We never made any money out of it, and everything was done for love. And it was a extremely advanced game, and when I later went on to play games like World of Warcraft, I knew that this was what these games, these text-based games, were what the games that we're playing today, that we're talking about today, were based on. And without these text-based games, they wouldn't be there. And they did all the hard work, they did the legwork, and putting pretty graphics on the top. And that was always the thing. If we'd been able to do that, if we'd had the funding to have done that with Elephant Mud, to have made it graphical, it would have been today's World of Warcraft. I say that without any doubt. It was a very well designed game. So that would probably be my second one. But if we weren't doing computer games, if we were doing sort of more things, then I would obviously say tabletop pen and paper role-playing games, because, you know, as an immersive experience, it doesn't really get... Well, I think you could probably go for LARPing, but I've never done LARPing because I don't like the idea of being chased, especially by someone carrying a mace. so I haven't done that. But yeah, I think the whole the tabletop gaming is just so fun, because you can take it wherever your group wants to take it, you know.
My eyes just keep going up to my massive collection of tabletop books and rules and stuff.
I am fascinated by your history of game development. I'm desperate to talk to you at length about it, because that sounds so exciting. But alas, we have a topic to carry on with. Caroline, can you give us number 6, please?
Number 6 is a game that I know Jem likes as well, and that this time last year, I think, was when we started playing it, which was Divinity Original Sin 2.
Yes.
And the thing is that I love a good RPG. I really, really love a good RPG, and they don't come along that often. It's like there's a lot of mediocre RPGs out there, and when a good one comes out, like Skyrim or like this, you know, it's just so brilliant. And so, especially the fact that I think it was like last April probably, when the pandemic had hit, and, you know, the realities of how much we were going to be locked in our house for an extremely long period of time was starting to go. Divinity Original Sin 2 was, for me and my partner, just this wonderful world we could escape to. And it was, as I say, a good RPG should always be immersive, should make you be thinking about your character all the time. Like, I loved the fact that I actually found the other day a piece of paper where I'd been scribbling down which talents and skills I wanted to unlock for my characters, because I'd planned out a progression route for them. But also, and I think you guys know this, I'm not a huge plot game person. It's not the thing for me about games that's all the time. And I loved the plot. This was one of the few games where I was not skipping cutscenes, and I was absolutely, completely invested in what was happening in this world and everything about it. I haven't been able to play the new Baldur's Gate game by the same team yet, because frankly, I like to wait till games are cheaper and I'm not paying 50
I'm so
quid
excited about that game, though.
So I'm so excited about it as well, and it has me really hard not to just drop the 50 quid and pay it. But I know that when I do, these people have put together such a good game, and also the way that you can use the Divinity system to upload your own sort of RPG stories into it, and I've seen some amazing versions of that online. Like, if I had infinite time, the idea of like putting your whole D&D campaign into what is a fantastic game, I can't get over it. The magic was done brilliantly, the combat was done brilliantly. What you were saying earlier, Matt, about like, I can tell you the maps, I know how to get around everywhere in there and stuff like that, and every little twist and turn of it was just a joy. And yeah, absolutely brilliant game.
love what you were saying about the. It seems like a general theme, the precise, near perfection of the way the game has been developed, and every single aspect of it has been refined to a near perfection. That's exactly what I felt with Middle-earth: Shadow of War, where you play the Grave Walker, you've got this a ring, and you were killed, but you were tied up with the soul of Celebrimbor, the elf who made the original rings, and you can't die, but you die, but then you come back, and it's technical perfection of gameplay, and you feel like this superhuman wraith. The way that you watch Legolas deal with things, you have that, but in a very gritty and dark scenario, and you sprint through the cities. It feels it's so Middle-earth, everything about it, that high fantasy, and you feel like you're the driving force driving through everything, that you're not insignificant, you are the most important thing. And then you tie that up with the Nemesis system, and how the running, the jumping, the fighting, the sieges. It's a joy to go in and just revel in what this game allows you to be, and that's what a bloody masterpiece. Okay, and I think this is number 8.
Mm-hmm.
Alex, take it away.
Okay, something entirely different now for my last choice, which is Wallace and Gromit: Curse of the Were-Rabbit. Yes. And
that film was a bloody masterpiece. I haven't played again though.
Yes, but no, it's a very good game, and the reason I think it's immersive is because if you've watched the film, you'll see, as films are wont to do, it obviously cuts from location to location. Obviously, with the Were-Rabbit, they were able to film more of how Wallace and Gromit travelled from location to location. But when you're in the game world, you can physically go through and see, oh, there's Wallace's house, there's the town square, there's the church, and it's just down the road and to the left. And you actually feel like you're inhabiting the world a bit more and getting to know the villages and the people that live in it and all the characters outside of Wallace and Gromit. It's just really, really nice sort of Yorkshire village, quintessentially English town. And it's even got a little harbour as well, which I quite enjoyed exploring, with lots of seagull noises and all that sort of thing. It's just nice to sort of poodle around in and mess about and have some fun. This was going back probably about 10, maybe 15 years. I don't know. Some PlayStation 2 anyway. But one of my favourites, definitely. And yes, very, very immersive in that sense of being in the world of Wallace and Gromit.
Now I need to dig out the Curse of the Were-Rabbit, because
it's good fun.
Okay, so that is our top 8 most immersive games. That was so much fun. It gives a real window into our different gaming lives, and how important it is to us in so many different ways. Okay, that is the end of our top 8 bonus round. Tune in to our YouTube, Twitch, everything, 7 p.m. on Thursday evenings. We'll always be coming out with something on a Thursday. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you're listening to a podcast, particularly on Apple Podcast, if you can give us a 5-star rating and a comment, that would be very much appreciated. Until next time, we are Gaming the System, and see you.
Nice. Well done, Matt.